And the last game we're going to talk about on this episode is Cacao.
It's designed by Phil Walker Harding. The artist is Claus Stephan, and the publisher was that Mayfair? Nope.
I think mine's Z-Man.
Yeah, I think it was
Z-Man.
Z-Man.
Yep.
Cacao is a tile-based laying game where each player gets their own set of tiles that have meeples on the sides, and you've got these jungle tiles in the middle that you're going to put out in the center. And the idea is a player is going to lay out a tile of theirs and then attach these jungle tiles to it, and it's going to end up making a checkerboard pattern. So you're going to have meeple tile from a player, then a jungle tile, then a meeple player, then a jungle, etc., etc., etc. You have a little player board in front of you that's a circle. It's like your village. There's a little water carrier that starts on a negative point value. You want to move him up to the positives, obviously. There's some spots for silver coins. There's some spots for cacao. And you're going to put your money and stuff there too. The game's pretty simple. You're going to draw a hand of 3 of these Meeple cards from your deck. Or not deck, or cards, but tiles from your deck. The game's going to start with 2 things out there, and you're going to simply place one of your, one of your 3 onto the cards that are in, or tiles that are in play. Now, each of your Meeple worker tiles have 4 Meeples on it, just in a different orientation. So you might have 1 on each side. You can have 2 on one side, 1 on 2 other sides, and then a blank. You can have 3 on one side and then 1 on another side. You get the idea. There's different layouts. Everybody's got the exact same layout, but you may not have drawn the right one, the same as other players because they are shuffled. Anyway, you place out your worker tile, and you're going to do the actions that you attach to. Say there's a plantation, you put your worker tile against it with 2 workers. The plantation is going to give you 1 cacao token for each worker that you touch it with, basically. So you're going to get 2 cacao onto your sheet, and then you do each of the other sides, etc., etc. And then it's going to be the last thing you do is you fill in any spots that has like 2 worker tiles pointing to a blank spot. So if you're kind of looking at an L shape, if you got a worker tile on the top, a blank space below it, and then on the right there's a worker tile kind of like diagonal from each other, that's going to fill in both those other spots with jungle tiles. Anyway, your turn's easy. You place your Meeple tile, you fill in jungle tiles, you do all the actions around it for the amount of Meeples you have pointing at it, and that's your turn. Next player goes, they do the same thing. It is worth noting that 2 of the jungle tiles are always visible, so you kind of get an idea of what you can put into play after you place your Meeple worker tile. And some of the stuff that happens is there's a watering hole that will allow you to move up your watering guy, water carrier, a space for each Meeple. Obviously, it starts in the negatives. You want to get in the positives. Otherwise, there are negative points at the end of the game. There are plantations, which will give you cacao. You can sell those at the marketplaces for 2, 3, or 4 gold, depending on the tile that's available. There are temples. Those are just like kind of an area control. At the end of the game, that's when those score. Whoever has the most Meeples touching it is going to score the 6 points. Second most is 3. There's some tie stuff, but it doesn't matter. And there are the silver tokens. These are going to give you you can have up to 3 of them at the end of the game, or at least late game when the jungle tiles are all depleted, because usually those are going to run out before you run out of worker tiles to play. And the game's going to continue until everyone's played all their worker tiles. And at that point, if the jungle tiles are gone, then you can spend a silver token to play your Meeple worker tile on top of one that you've already put in play previously. So you can kind of reactivate stuff that have already been in the game, but they're surrounded by Meeple tiles and stuff. So that's pretty much the game. You're collecting most of your points throughout it. At the end of the game, you get you get points based on your the area control of the water carrier and the area control of those different temples, and whoever has the most money is basically the winner. So Matt, what did you think about this? We've played it a couple times. This is your first time with this one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun. Kind of just going with the flow of the map, seeing what you can get the most out of. The water track is kind of important, so it was fun. Anytime a water hole came up, you tried to run at it and get your get something on it. I like the fact that the tiles, the big decision, I guess, is because you basically have 4 meeples on each tile. It just depends on if it's like 3 on a side and 1 on another. You would kind of want to leave it to where maybe you can benefit if someone places next to you. It doesn't always work that way, but it's something you want to kind of keep mind to. But yeah, man, I actually really enjoyed this game. It's a kind of just laying tiles down and seeing what you can, point salad. I don't know if it's point salad, but you're just trying to get points every turn.
Yeah.
See what you can do to get money.
Or
pick
at
your
least
beans and sell them.
It's pretty interesting to put your worker tile out and then put, there's a blank. Maybe it's pointing to an area where you don't get to put a jungle tile because there's not another worker tile pointing at that blank space. And so you're like, I wonder who's going to put what there.
Right.
So you can either put your blank side against it, or maybe you can put like 2 workers over there and see what happens. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What do you think about this one, Eric?
Yeah, I overall liked it quite a bit. I initially passed on it previously as Tim's game because I heard that a lot of people said it might be too simplistic, or there's not enough gameplay there, but I didn't really feel that way. It's definitely a family type of weight game. So there's not it's not deep and complex, but it has a Carcassonne kind of feel to it.
That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
Same realm.
I think the components are nice. It looks pretty good on the table.
Speaking of components, I'm gonna go ahead and say the insert is bad. I don't know what is up with it, but like the insert
for the coins is kind of bad. I don't know if it goes beyond that or.
Yeah, it's like a part of it is raised all the way to the top, and then the rest of it's kind of inset. So like if you move it around when it's closed, stuff's just gonna fall out of it. So hopefully the expansion fills all that space in.
They put probably the punch boards, I guess, on top.
Yeah.
In a smaller section, but not over the whole top. It's just a middle section of the top.
Exactly, which is kind of bad because then you can't take the punch outs that you have left over and then put them on underneath the insert to kind of prop it up.
Right.
That's like a cool part about the way they design these inserts is because you could prop it up to the top and the lid just touches the top and it keeps everything set. But I did buy this used, so I don't know. I'm assuming that's probably how it came packaged. There's no other way it could have.
Right.
So overall though, I thought it's really good. I hadn't heard of it at all.
Oh really?
Which was surprising.
No, I've seen it quite a few times. So,
really?
Yeah.
Well, when I was looking at Instagram and everybody was doing their top 9, I saw it like twice in a row. And I haven't seen it at all since on most of the top 9s, but 2 people like in a row put it on their top 9 and I was like, huh. And then I went to half price, $17. I was like, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. It's a pretty affordable game as well. I think retail is like 25
probably
or 30.
Probably 25
or
or 30, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to getting the expansion. I haven't looked anything about it. I think it's called Chocolate or something. So it makes sense.
Yes.
And I think there's a couple of like little mini expansions as well.
Yeah.
I think Board Game Geek has it.
I like this quite a bit.
Yeah.
I like my favorite thing is how it makes that like checkerboard pattern. It's really easy to explain the game to somebody because you're like, if you don't know where to place it, just remember it's going to make a checkerboard.
Right.
So that's like super cool. It would have been nice if it had a little bit more special tiles to the game, but I think as a base game, it's fine, knowing that there's already an expansion and many expansions out there. So
I think that definitely will bump it up a little bit more as well. And definitely it's almost kind of like a filler type of weight to it.
It says
it's like
45 minutes, but
I think it takes us like 30 or something.
Yeah, I mean, we did play it 3 players multiple times, so, but I mean, about 30 minutes is pretty accurate. It's a good length. Yeah, it doesn't feel too short, but it doesn't feel too long.
Right.
Yeah. I can't say anything bad about it. I like it, other than the insert.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll get a piece of round foam and stick it in there too.
Right.
Square. It's a square foam.
Oh,
right?
is it a square? Yeah, you're right. Whatever. Rectangle. Eric, any final thoughts?
No, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Good time.
I'm looking forward to getting expansions. I'm sure I probably will, and we'll do another topic about it. So we'll talk to you then. Anyway, that was Cacao.